In 1980, Volvo acquired the entire White Motor Corporation truck division, instantly reshaping the global trucking industry. While other manufacturers played it safe, Volvo went all in, engineering machines that dominated highways from Stockholm to Sydney. These weren't just trucks, they were rolling revolutions. Buckle up, because today we are counting down the 10 best Volvo trucks that defined, dominated, and forever changed the 19. Number 10. Volvo N10. We start our countdown with a truck that, strictly speaking, was born in the 1970s but truly came into its own during the 1980s, the Volvo N10. If you are operating a construction site, a quarry, or a demanding off-road route during this decade, the N10 was probably the truck you turned to first. The N-Series trucks were Volvo's conventional bonnet heavy-duty lineup, a traditional design that had proven itself in the harshest working conditions imaginable. While the cab-over F-Series were capturing headlines in long-haul haulage, the N10 was doing the dirty, indispensable work that kept construction and extraction industries moving. Powered by the TD100 engine, a 9.6-liter straight-six turbocharged diesel producing around 280 horsepower, the N10 delivered serious grunt in a proven, reliable package. By 1982, Volvo introduced an intercooled version of the larger 12-liter engine across the N-Series, pushing power outputs higher and giving operators even more capability. The N10 was available in 4x2, 6x2 and 6x4 configurations, making it incredibly versatile. In 1986, Volvo upgraded the N-Series with a new range of sturdier 8 and 12-speed gearboxes, further improving reliability and driver confidence. The N10 eventually continued in production all the way through to 1990, a testament to its enduring practicality. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't the star of the show, but without the N10 grinding through muddy sites and heavy-haul routes across Europe and Australia throughout the 1980s, entire industries would have ground to a halt. Number 9. Volvo N12. Sitting just above the N10 in the bonneted lineup is the bigger, more powerful N12. And in the 1980s, this truck earned a dedicated fan base that refused to let it fade quietly from the scene. The N12 was powered by the TD120, Volvo's 12-liter six-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine, producing 320 horsepower in standard form. When Volvo introduced the intercooled version of this engine in 1982, pushing output to 385 horsepower, the N12 became genuinely formidable for its era. Intercooling, a technology that cools the compressed air charge before it enters the engine, allowing for denser air and therefore more complete fuel combustion, gave the N12 a significant power and efficiency advantage over many of its competitors. Like the N10, the N12 was also built at the White Motor Corporation's facilities after Volvo's 1981 acquisition, meaning the truck began appearing in North American specifications for certain markets. The N12 was particularly popular in Australia, where it was produced in several locally adapted configurations for that country's unique operational demands, including heavy road trains. What set the N12 apart from many of its peers was the reputation it built for longevity. These trucks accumulated enormous mileages before requiring major overhauls. The conventional bonneted cab design meant maintenance was far easier to carry out in field conditions than comparable cab-over vehicles. As the N-Series lineup continued into the late 1980s, the N12 outlasted the N7, which bowed out in 1986 after respectable sales of over 12,000 units. The N10 and N12, however, marched on until 1990. Number 8. White Integral Sleeper. Now we move to the North American side of the story, and to a truck that was genuinely revolutionary in its category. The White Integral Sleeper, introduced in 1982, was the first North American production truck to feature a fully integrated passenger cab and sleeper compartment. And that distinction matters enormously. Before this truck arrived, the standard solution for long-haul American drivers was to bolt an aftermarket sleeper box onto the back of the cab, an add-on that created structural awkwardness, reduced aerodynamic efficiency, and offered drivers a cramped, disconnected space to rest. The White Integral Sleeper changed that paradigm completely. For the first time, the sleeping space was designed as an integral part of the cab itself, creating a continuous, purposefully designed living and working environment for drivers. This innovation came directly from Volvo's European influence on the White product line, following the 1981 acquisition. Volvo engineers, who had long understood that driver comfort was not a luxury but a productivity tool, brought that philosophy to the North American market. A driver who sleeps properly performs better, stays safer, and drives longer. The integral sleeper was the physical manifestation of that philosophy. In 1985, the concept was taken further with the integral tall sleeper, which featured a raised roof variant that gave drivers enough headroom to actually stand up inside the cab, a feature so significant that it was marketed as the American equivalent of Volvo's celebrated European Globetrotter cab. That 1985 upgrade cemented the integrated sleeper as the new standard for serious North American long-haul operation. Number 7. Volvo FL6. By the mid-1980s, Volvo recognized a serious problem. Despite its dominance in heavy long-haul segments, the company had been steadily losing market share in the medium-weight truck segment throughout the 1970s. The solution was the FL series, a completely new family of vehicles designed from scratch, launched in the summer of 1985. The FL6 was the core of this new range. The letters FL stood for forward control, low-level cab, and that low cab entry point was a central design priority. Drivers had complained for years that getting in and out of trucks during urban distribution work was physically punishing. The FL6 addressed this directly with a much lower cab step height, reducing the physical strain on delivery drivers who might get in and out of their truck dozens of times per day. The FL6 was powered by Volvo's D6 engine, a 5.5-liter six-cylinder turbocharged diesel, and was available in configurations targeting gross vehicle weights from 11 to 16 tons. The cab itself was 2.3 meters wide, specifically sized for urban environments where tight streets and limited turning circles were everyday challenges. The FL6 came in light, medium, and heavy-duty variants, designated FL6L, FL6M, and FL6H, giving operators enormous flexibility to match the truck to their specific application. The FL6's impact on the market was immediate. These trucks quickly became Volvo's best-selling models in the United Kingdom during the latter part of the 1980s. They were deployed as distribution trucks, refuse collection vehicles, construction platforms, and compact tractors. The FL6 proved that Volvo could compete not just in the prestigious heavy long-haul segment, but also in the high-volume, fiercely competitive medium-duty market. Number 6. Volvo FL10. While the FL6 conquered urban and regional markets, the FL10 arrived at the same time to serve a different purpose, bridging the gap between medium-duty distribution work and genuinely heavy haulage, all while keeping the practical low-entry FL cab design. Also launched in the summer of 1985, the FL10 featured a wider 2.5-meter cab compared to the FL6's 2.3-meter unit, offering more interior room and a more commanding driving position. This wider cab allowed for a larger windshield, better sight lines, and a more spacious dashboard layout, which drivers appreciated on longer regional hauls. Power came from Volvo's D10 engine, a larger displacement unit capable of outputs up to 318 horsepower in its higher states of tune, making the FL10 strong enough to replace the heavier F10 for construction and regional distribution applications, where a smaller, more maneuverable cab was preferred over the larger F-Series cab-over design. The FL10 was available in a remarkably wide variety of axle configurations, ranging from the standard 4x2 all the way up to 8x6 setups for specialized tipper and multi-axle applications. This configurational flexibility was a hallmark of the FL series, and one of the key reasons the range succeeded so broadly across such different operational environments. Whether you needed a tipper for a construction project, a tractor unit for regional freight, or a specialized vehicle for a niche application, the FL10 could almost certainly be configured to suit. Number 5. White Aero. By 1987, Volvo's North American engineers were ready to make a statement about the future of long-haul trucking. The result was the White Aero, a truck that looked fundamentally different from anything that had come before it on American highways. Introduced in 1987, the White Aero featured a significantly lowered hood line, composite headlamp housings, notably shared with the Volvo 240 passenger car, demonstrating the cross-pollination of technology between Volvo's divisions and a completely flush-mounted grille. The entire front end was redesigned with one priority above all others: aerodynamic efficiency. In the mid-1980s, the trucking industry was waking up to the enormous fuel savings that could be achieved through better aerodynamics. A truck traveling at highway speeds spends a significant portion of its fuel simply pushing through the air. Any reduction in aerodynamic drag translated directly into lower fuel costs, a critical concern for operators still feeling the aftershocks of the energy crises of the previous decade. The White Aero's flush-mounted grille and lowered hood were not merely cosmetic choices. They represented a genuine engineering commitment to reducing the truck's coefficient of drag. Combined with the aerodynamic cab styling, the White Aero was a foreshadowing of the direction all serious North American truck design would eventually take. In many ways, this truck was the direct philosophical ancestor of the Volvo VN that would launch in 1996 and genuinely transform the North American market. The Aero proved the concept was viable. The VN proved it was commercially irresistible. Number 4. Volvo F12 Globetrotter. We are now in the top 4. And from here, the trucks only get more significant. The Volvo F12 Globetrotter was arguably the most iconic European long-haul truck of the entire decade. A machine that set standards for driver comfort, power, and refinement that competitors scrambled to match. The F12 had been introduced in 1977 as part of the F-Series family, alongside the F10. Named for its 12-liter engine displacement, the F12 was powered by the TD120, a turbocharged straight-six delivering 320 horsepower in initial form. But it was the 1979 introduction of the Globetrotter cab variant that truly elevated the F12 into a class of its own. The Globetrotter cab featured a dramatically raised roof that created enough headroom inside the cab for a driver to stand upright, a seemingly simple feature that transformed the daily reality of long-distance trucking. For drivers spending days or weeks at a time living inside their cabs as they crossed European borders, the ability to stand, move around freely, and sleep comfortably in a proper bunk was genuinely life-changing. Volvo understood something that many of its competitors were slow to grasp. A comfortable driver is a productive, safer, more loyal driver. In 1983, the entire F-Series received a major upgrade. The cab was redesigned with a larger windscreen, a taller roof, and substantially improved ergonomics. The chassis was made lighter through the use of parabolic springs and revised structural components. The Globetrotter version received an even taller windscreen that reached the top of the higher roof, giving drivers an extraordinary panoramic view of the road ahead. Engine outputs remained unchanged through this update, but efficiency improved. The F12 was selling all over Europe, and Volvo was manufacturing approximately 200,000 F-Series trucks over the model's 16-year production run. Number 3. Volvo F10. The Volvo F10 might sit in the shadow of the larger, more powerful F12 in popular memory. But in 1984, this truck achieved something definitive. It won the International Truck of the Year award. This is not a marketing designation. It is a rigorous industry assessment conducted by a jury of independent European truck journalists, evaluating vehicles on technical innovation, drivability, safety, comfort, economy, and environmental performance. The F10 was powered by the TD100 engine, Volvo's 9.6-liter straight-six turbocharged diesel, producing 280 horsepower. The naming was slightly misleading. Despite being called the F10, it actually featured a 9.6-liter rather than exactly 10-liter displacement. But what the engine lacked in precise nomenclature, it more than compensated for in real-world performance. Available in 4x2 and 6x2 configurations, the F10 was built for long-haul European routes where fuel economy and reliability were paramount. By the early 1980s, the F10 had received the same 1983 cab upgrade as the rest of the F-Series: larger windscreen, taller roof, improved interior, and was being offered with automatic temperature control and air-sprung seats as standard features. These were remarkable amenities for a heavy truck of this era. The combination of Volvo's engineering rigor, driver-focused interior design, and proven TD100 reliability made the F10 the most complete package in its class at the time of its Truck of the Year win. The F10 also carried adjustable wind deflectors mounted on the cab roof, an early and practical aerodynamic solution that helped reduce fuel consumption at motorway speeds. Volvo produced its last non-turbocharged truck in 1980, meaning that by the time the F10 was at its peak, every single engine in the Volvo truck lineup was turbocharged, a technology leadership position that reflected the company's decades of investment in forced induction since introducing the world's first production turbo truck in 1954. Number 2. Volvo F16. On the 22nd of October 1987, in Gothenburg, Sweden, Volvo unveiled a truck that immediately claimed the title of the most powerful production truck in Europe. The Volvo F16 was the culmination of a development program that had begun in the 1970s, and when it finally arrived, it exceeded every expectation. The F16 was powered by an entirely new engine, the TD162F. This was a 16.72-liter, inline six-cylinder, direct injection, four-stroke turbocharged and intercooled diesel engine. It developed 340 kilowatts or 465 horsepower at a maximum engine speed of 1,860 RPM. Maximum torque was a massive 2,015 Newton-meters. To put that in context, for 1987, the F16 was beating the MAN 1946, the Mercedes-Benz 1644, the Iveco Turbostar 19042, and the Scania 2 Series in outright power output. It was the undisputed king of the European highway. The TD162F engine was designed from first principles. Volvo's engineers concluded early in the development process that an inline six-cylinder configuration would produce sufficient power and high torque while remaining compact enough for practical installation, reliable enough for commercial operation, and light enough to maintain reasonable vehicle payloads. The engine featured two distinct thermal sides, a cold air management system and a hot exhaust management system, designed to optimize both power delivery and thermal efficiency across the entire engine speed range. The F16 was also fitted exclusively with the new SR2000 gearbox, a 12-speed, fully synchromesh, range-change transmission with an integral splitter section and two additional non-synchromesh crawler gears at the bottom of the range, giving drivers maximum control in extremely demanding situations. This gearbox was developed specifically for the F16 and was built to handle the full torque output of the TD162F engine reliably over long service intervals. F16 was designed specifically for operations involving gross combination weights of 44 tons and above in European markets that permitted such configurations, hauling over mountain passes, through the Alps and across Scandinavia, in conditions where raw power, controlled delivery of that power, and the ability to maintain high average speeds on undulating terrain were all critical. Deliveries to continental European customers commenced in early 1988, and the F16 immediately established itself as the flagship of the Volvo range and one of the most respected production trucks in the world. Number 1. Volvo F12. You might be wondering, why does the F12 appear both at number 4 and at number 1? The answer is simple. The F12 Globetrotter at number 4 represented the specific package and the elevated standard of driver comfort it introduced. The F12 at number 1 represents something bigger, the full arc of an extraordinary machine across the entire decade. The sales volumes it achieved, the markets it dominated, the culture it created, and its overall impact on the history of trucking. The Volvo F12 was the best-selling long-haul truck in Europe across the 1980s. Over the full 16-year production run of the F-Series from 1977 to 1993, Volvo manufactured approximately 200,000 units, and the F12 was the dominant contributor to those numbers through the peak demand years of the early to mid-1980s. The TD120C engine in the F12's initial form delivered 243 kilowatts at 2,200 RPM, with later charge-cooled variants eventually reaching up to 400 horsepower and 1,650 Newton-meters of torque. This progression of power outputs through the decade kept the F12 competitive as the market demanded increasingly capable machines. The 1983 upgrade was a watershed moment for the F12. The revised cab brought a significantly larger windscreen, improved visibility in all weather conditions, a taller and more refined interior, a new chassis with reduced weight through parabolic leaf springs, and a suite of ergonomic improvements that made the already impressive Globetrotter variant even better. The Globetrotter cab's raised roof created a living space inside the truck that had no equal in European production. Drivers could prepare meals, store personal belongings, sleep comfortably in full-length bunks, and maintain the kind of personal organization across long international routes that had previously been impossible. The F12's significance stretched far beyond Europe. It was built and sold in markets across the globe, including Australia, where locally adapted configurations were developed to handle the extreme demands of Australian road train operations. Volvo's willingness to engineer market-specific variants, different axle setups, modified suspension systems, and locally sourced components where necessary gave the F12 genuine commercial reach that few competitors could match. The F12 also carried something harder to quantify, but equally important: cultural significance. In the 1980s, the image of a Volvo F12 Globetrotter rolling through the night on a European motorway, headlights cutting through fog, the driver warm and comfortable in that tall cab, that image became synonymous with professional, long-haul trucking at its finest. The F12 wasn't just a truck, it was a statement about what professional road transport could and should be. When the F-Series was eventually replaced by the FH Series in 1993, the FH immediately won the European Truck of the Year award in 1994. But the FH was, in many ways, the F12's direct descendant, inheriting its design philosophy, its commitment to driver comfort, and its engineering ambition. You cannot understand the FH without understanding the F12 that came before it. If you found this video valuable, drop a like and subscribe for more in-depth truck history content. Tell us in the comments which of these Volvo trucks from the 1980s is your personal favorite. Have you driven or worked on any of these machines? We want to hear your stories. Until next time, keep the wheels turning.